G'day, welcome to another episode of Aaron's Adventures. The adventure that we are on this time is dealing with something that we don't want to deal with, is an excessive amount of water. And if you are putting a soak well in that's brand new, and you will learn something from this video, if you've got the same problem that we've got, is that we have a sunken, you see that sunken area there, obviously that's a collapsed soak well, hasn't been done properly, not a good job. That's been caused by a burst water mains, and we'll talk about that later, how you can benefit from this experience. But the best thing that you will experience from is not just having a soak well that is unique in the sense of how it distributes the water, but the fact that we're going to do it for next to no cost at all. And I think that's quite appealing to everyone, is who wants to spend money on something that you don't see and you don't want. And you won't have to ever have to deal with it again. If we do it following the principles that I'm going to teach you now, that should be it. Job should be over, end of the road, and it doesn't matter how much it rains, it actually works better the more that it rains. And I'll explain that along the way. Stick around, this is going to be more fun for you, because I'm going to hyperlapse everything so that it's entertaining. It's going to be boring for me because I've got to do the work. Anyway, we'll try and make the best of it, eh? Let's go. This is what happens. As you can see, this is clearly what the problem is. And while we're having all these disasters, over the time, dirt, debris, sand, sawdust, because I've been working out here, all gets in there, and stuff from up on the roof, because obviously that's the one that comes from the roof, eventually ends up inside a soak well. And this is what this video is all about, is to prevent, so that this will be completely maintenance free, that this should never happen again. This is why these cheap ones are no good, and that building your own brick one like we're about to do is better. These plastic ones are junk. This has been in the ground about 10 years, I believe, and this is what happens to them. Okay, so this is a bit more what it should look like. After cleaning that out, but we'll put some aggregate down the bottom of that, and I'm going to change the end of this spout here. This is all we had, which is not enough. You got one of those regular plastic soak wells that you get from the hardware, and all there was is that one under there, and it's not actually even that big. It's a bit smaller than that. The lid's bigger than the soak well. And something I forgot about my calculations was the drain pipe that also collects water from the roof. So calculate out, it's now a total of 200 square metres of catchment. So no wonder these things were really struggling and subsiding and filling up and just wasn't doing the job. I do not claim to be an expert bricklayer, not by any means at all. I'm a tiler. I've learnt to do tiling from having to brick up the sides of bathtubs and around the hobs of showers. They're always very small jobs. The fundamentals are very basic. But I did learn from my years of driving truck. I would deliver to building sites. So if you're about to have your lunch break, I'd pull up, have my sandwich, put the feet up on the dashboard, and I would watch bricklayers doing their work, see how many shovel loads they would do, and just basically monkey see, monkey do. Now, if you don't have a bricky's trowel of any kind, and you go into the shops and you're wondering, what do I get? I highly recommend just get one of these. It's what we call a spoon. You can see the rounded end. It's smaller than a bricky's trowel. Some bricky's trowels can get really big when they're really pros. They want to move a lot of mud fast. This can have an advantage because it's better get down the back. The pointed thing, but 9 times out of 10, I use a spoon for just about everything, especially when it comes to getting the mud out of the bottom of the bucket. The curved end will get every last drop, and it's a reasonable size. Quick example, if towards the end, and so you get to reaching the end of your bucket, and it's starting to dry up, you see a hairline fracture. What do? Get your bucket of water. You always have half a bucket of water nearby. Dribble it on. Wet it, let it flush through, let it dry a bit more slowly. The slower cement dries, the better. Now, what I tend to do is your mud's setting up fast, right? Because it's setting up fast, you want to go for whole bricks first, so you can move as much mud as you can really quick. Go for the cut ones later. I'll deal with the cut ones in a minute. So in case you're wondering, why have I done this? What's the purpose of these archways? Well, I learnt this from the Balladonia telegraph station. The reason why these pillars are here is for bracing. I suppose for strength of the wall. You You've got to be able to brace the wall because you don't want that seepage and then cracking and coming in. You want to make the tank whole so that the water can always disperse evenly throughout the entire soak well. So the soak well is still one soak well, but it's braced. Positions of the bracing, of course, are for the size of the slab. Also make note that I've put weep hole points. Yeah, that's just a line for the next bit of wall, black line for that. But I left the bottom row and I didn't put any cement between them. So we're going to fill the whole bottom section with aggregate, with the blue metal, so the water will dissipate and now has more area to dissipate to without it subsiding or sand coming back in. So I'm actually going to get the aggregate and stuff it into those grooves, but water can still get through. So it increases the surface area, but without increasing its ability to undermine the foundation of the actual soak well itself. The reason why, even though I got all of these bricks for free, but I got a bunch of these white ones from another house. So I deliberately chose the white ones as the bottom row purely because someone may be asking, like, why did you put the whites at the bottom? It's just to demonstrate the height of the blue metal, that when we put this in, how much I'm going to put in, that's going to allow the water to sink through, that even in time, if there was to be any sort of like erosion of the soil, the blue metal is going to take its place. So that in time, maybe the blue metal will go down to about halfway level of the brick, but it's only going to get dispersed into the soil and actually increase the strength of the foundation of the soak well, not decrease it. So as time goes by, this soak well will get better and better, and the harder that the rain is, the better it performs. So I just cut a piece of wood. It's exactly the height of that. That just makes it easier. You can see that obviously that's good. Okay, yeah, we should have it. Oh, wait. Then the sand can blow in there. That always looks better for a video when it looks like then.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Okay, so before I put it in, I thought I'd quickly show you that the idea is that you can see that there's no holes in the middle section here. This will be upside down, so you're not going to see it. But in the middle section, like here and here, which is basically here and here, it'll hit there first. Then just the event of a light rain, it comes to this middle area and it skips the other two sections. As the rain then intensifies, and as you can see, it breaks up. It then merges on to the entire area, and as it gets really intense, of course, if it's raining that much that this pipe is half full to the water, and it's still coming out. Of course, I'll put holes all the way along in the entire area that should really jettison the water at a very even rate, which should then prevent erosion. Because if you just put holes anywhere at all, of course, in the event of a light rain, it's just going to pick on the first set of holes, and it never makes it to the middle area. And then you find, because there's more chance of light rains more often, it'll just start picking on one spot. Better that to pick it in the middle and then spread it out as it intensifies. Let's put it in. So actually then go down. But I want to be certain that under pressure that these cannot break, because as I said, this will be maintenance free. I don't want to ever have to deal with it again. So I'm actually going to brace them across here with some steel brackets that I picked up from an old bunk bed that someone was throwing away. I knew steel's expensive, so I cut them up with a grinder and saved them for the rainy day, pun intended. My problem is, with my grinder, I can't get all the way into that back one, and I don't want to chop the back of that brick, and I'll tell you why in a minute. So I've had to just simply reshape this hopefully fit that there, and that there should then sit flush across here, and we can check it with our piece of wood. She's in there, but I don't want it too much lower. You've got to watch this. I really want the slab to sit on this, not to have a gap in between, because otherwise it still could fracture. So now I deliberately do not want to cut this out open and have this piece of steel all the way out, because we'll see when I cement over this, you'll see later what I'm talking about. This will not be exposed to the air in any way, and therefore can't rust. Moisture and that can't get at it. Anyway, the moisture obviously will get to the inside part here where the tube is, but this is painted. If that was sticking out of the wall, then there's a good chance that's going to start rusting. And I want to make this maintenance free and never need to be touched. Right. That's considered a really heavy rain. It's ejecting itself out. That's it. It's not going any higher than what that is there should be. Of course, it is only going into the first 2 sections, but the other 3 sections should be taken care of by the other inlet from that side. Okay, the finale. This is it. It was the day after I've just finished the last of the cementing. As you can see, I will just fill it all in and compact it all down, and I can deal with this. Obviously, this trough, I need to deal with that when I'm putting the pavers down to get the level correct. I'll put that at the end if you want to watch it. But that's basically it, ladies and gentlemen. You'll notice I did not cement the actual slabs to the brick. All I did was place them on the top, and then I've just cemented just 45 degrees just into the edge, so that heaven forbid if I did actually need to open it up for some reason, which I highly doubt that will ever happen in my lifetime, this should be a maintenance free, should last forever. But if I did, I have that option. All I got to do is just get the grinder and just run it down the edge, and I can lift up the slab. That's why I recommend don't cement it down. You do that, you'd have to smash the slab to get it open again. It's fine as it is. It ain't going nowhere. It's all steady and strong. Quick update on this one. I did initially have that 90-degree elbow on a 45 to reduce couplings and have it go straight up, and then just have one 45-degree joint then to that pipe. But I found it was awkward to get this in here. I actually had to lift up this pipe here upwards to be able to get it to slot in to the way it would fit. I thought, I can't have that, because once that's now cemented in place, that's not going anywhere. So I don't have that option. So I changed it to this setup here, so that that there just sort of sits in there. It's quite loose. I actually sanded it back so I can actually lift that up and actually remove that whole section. Heaven forbid, if something happened to this and I needed to replace and change it, it's not a problem. But I'll actually wait. It's going to be raining next week, so that'll be the visual test. Well, I'll run a bit of footage and see if it is working as it should do. But other than that, I think it looks better like that. No, we'll go that way. That way, it's the same as that. Yeah, that looks better. I'm just gonna now. I remember mentioning these slabs. I'll have another one. I may get another one. Actually, cut a groove in it and slip it in the front that way. So that there's only if the vehicle drives over the top and puts pressure down here, it can't put pressure on the box itself, keeping the box's shape intact, as I showed in the beginning, the way it bulges from the pressure squeezing it in, and that of course causes the bricks to sag. I'm just going to trim the top off that one, tuck it underneath, and that should take away any of that pressure off the box. There you have it, ultimate soak well. Take the time to compact your fill as you go. Bricky's yellow sand is best.
If you only compact the top layer at the end, in time the looser soil underneath will settle and you will end up with distorted bricks years later. Watering in helps fill empty pockets.
Just in closing, this has been an absolute success. I found I only need to maintain it about once every 6 months, probably before winter, after winter. Vacuum it out, any bit of sand that might have accumulated at the base, any debris, but really nothing gets past the filtration system. There was a bit of a failure with the first one. What the debris was not going, it was getting clogged, it wasn't going down the drain.
There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing blocking there, and it's still not going. Is it this one here? Yes. As soon as I scrape it away, it's this second guard. There she goes. So there's nothing past that then. Thank goodness. It's this here that's clogging up.
We managed to solve that issue for a very low cost. We did price up some of the units that you can pre-purchase, and the price was like out of control. We did this for about $20, thanks to old Reg and his ideas. How it is that I did this will be in the workshop series. This video is getting too long, so I'll show that in a separate video. Comment below, please, any positive comments or questions that you have. Please, this is what this channel is all about, is to help each other. Do that. Other than that, thank you for watching, and good luck with your project.